Video battle reports. Tactics and reviews. Painting and hobby material. Blog for the Blood God.
How you going, guys? Dean from the blog for the Blood God here. I've got my mate with me here today and we're going to do a 2,000 point battle report for you. So I'll just jump straight in and show you guys the armies that we'll be using. My army is a Khorne Daemonkin combined arms detachment, with the Warlord is a Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage, then second HQ is another Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage, and then we've got 2 Helldrakes, 2 Mauler Fiends, and 2 squads of 8 Bloodletters. So that's the combined arms detachment, and then I've also attached a Gore Pack, which is one of the formations in the new codex. So that contains 3 units of 3 bikes, all of which have 2 melty guns and a combi melter, and then 4 units of 5 flesh hounds. So that all up, that's my 2,000 point Khorne Daemonkin list, and then the list that my mate is using, which I'm going to go through for him, is Pask. It's an Astra Millitarium combined arms. It's Pask in a Punisher as the Warlord. He's got a Lehman Russ, Demolisher with him as part of his squad. There's also 2 Lehman Russ battle tanks, a squad of veterans with a las cannon in a Chimera for your mandatory troops, and a second squad of veterans in a Chimera for your second mandatory troops. Then he's got 3 Vendetta gunships and a Shadow Sword, the Baneblade with the Destroyer weapon. So that's his list, and yeah, so we're just going to roll off for deployment, set up a table, all those sorts of things, and we'll be back with you in a sec. Alrighty, so we've set up the table, all the terrain and that sort of thing, and we've also set up the objective markers. So we've gone for 6 tactical objective markers because we're doing Maelstrom of War. So the first marker is here, just coming off that first island. Second marker, pretty much central. Third marker is in here with the bastion and the defense line. Fourth marker is there. Fifth marker is central, but opposite the other side of that big line of sight blocker. And the 6th and final is over here with this bastion in this defense line. So they're all in pretty easily defendable areas with some bastions and some defense lines and those sorts of things to keep them safe. So yeah, so we'll jump into rolling off the deployment and seizing the initiative, and we'll get back to you after deployment's completed. Alrighty, so that's the end of deployment. So being that I won the roll-off to see who goes and deploys first, so seeing as I was setting up without knowing what he was going to do, I went for something sort of symmetrical. So I've got some hounds on the side here. They're going to make a scout move and then further move and get right up in his face. Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage, the bikes and the Mauler Fiends, they're ready to charge forward. Hounds and bikes, there, bikes, and then on the same side, we've got on the opposite side, it's the same with the Bloodthirster, Mauler Fiend, and more hounds. And then in reserves, I've got my 2 Helldrakes and the 2 squads of Bloodletters. They're going to deep strike. And then my opponent went on, so he deployed his 2 Lehman Russ battle tanks here, which has given him a nice, a nice line of sight down there to all of my squishy units. Those battle cannons are fucking going to eat their heart out. Then we've got the Chimera here with the veterans inside of it, moving forward to grab an objective. Second Chimera, same situation. Then over here we've got Pask and the Demolisher. Since I've got no blast weapons, you can worry about keeping them separated, you might as well just chuck them together. Basically, I get the feeling he's going to use that to hunt my Bloodthirster. Then we've got the fucking Shadow Sword guy tucked away in the corner here, where he's got the best possible field of view, and he's going to rip into my line, so she'll be interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, so if you want to roll your seize the initiative, and then we'll get stuck into turn 1. Nope, failed to seize, so Chaos turn 1. So, start of Chaos turn 1, we rolled Cleanse and Control from the missions. So I drew my three tactical objectives. So I got Murder Call, which is unique to Daemonkin, which is score 1 victory point if I summon anything or anything arrives from Deep Strike, so that's obviously not going to happen turn 1. I got Secure Objective 2, and I got Assassinate, so I need to remove one enemy model as a casualty this turn. So all I did was scout forward and then move a further 12 inches with my hounds in my movement phase, which has got them all the way up to his front line there. I moved forward and then turbo boosted my bikes, moved my Morphine forward, entered swooping mode with my Insensate Rage Bloodthirster to get him right up close to that Shadow Sword and also protect him from any blast weapons that might try and target him. Then I got my bikes just moved forward about 6 inches just on this objective number 2 because that's one of the cards I need. Then over here we had pretty much the same thing, Morphine move up, Bloodthirster enter swooping mode to protect him from blasts, Hounds move up, and more Hounds move up and the bikes there, turbo boosted. So immediately you can see my opponent shitting his pants because this army is scary fast. At the end of turn 1, pretty much everything gets 24-inch move because you've got turbo boosting bikes, scout moves on your hounds, and swooping on your monstrous creatures. So you can get you can pretty much at the start of your turn be in their deployment zone. So now he's basically got to panic because he's got to kill all of this shit in one turn in order to be able to really protect his units. Now, obviously haven't got any shooting, because the only shooting units I have are my bikes, and they turbo boosted, so there's no shooting, and there's no assault because it's turn 1. So that means that is the end of the Chaos Space Marine, or the Khorne Daemonkin, sorry, still getting used to that one. End of the Khorne Daemonkin turn 1, and I managed to secure Objective 2, but I did not kill anything, so I don't get Murder Call, I don't get Assassinate, and I didn't generate any Blood Tithe points either. So now let's see how much hurt he can put on me with his army. Alright, we're going to get into the Astra Millitarium turn 1. Alrighty, end of the Astra Millitarium turn 1. For objectives, he drew Ascendancy, which is D3 if you control any 3 objectives, Secure Objective 4, and Hold the Line, so as long as I'm not in his deployment zone. So luckily for him, I'm not in his deployment zone, so he gets that objective straight off the bat, and then because his dedicated transport has objective secured, he also manages to claim objective 4 straight off the bat, didn't even have to move. So we went into movement. He didn't do a great deal of movement, moved his tanks a little bit just so that in my turn I wouldn't auto-hit. Deployed his, which I thought this was an interesting move, he deployed and then ran his platoon here, his veterans, so that he could prevent me from charging straight into his tanks. Because now I'm going to have to go through that human shield essentially. So I thought that's a nice fluffy move too, because I could totally see guards doing that. But yeah, very limited movement. In his shooting phase, the 2 battle tanks over here fired and took out the unit of bikes. The first battle cannon didn't do much, I was lucky with my jinx saves, but then the second one took him out. Then this Chimera and the unit inside fired on those Flesh Hounds and took out a few, and then that Chimera fired on them as well, took out a few more. They're still a very hardy unit though, so there's still 2 Flesh Hounds there, one of which has got a wound on it. Then we went across, so that one fired into those Flesh Hounds as well. Then the Punisher and the Demolisher fired on the bike unit here. Luckily, one of them still survived, but he had to jinx, so that means he's going to be firing snapshots with that melter gun in the next turn anyway, so he's probably not going to be of much more use. And then the Shadow Sword fired his D-strength weapon at the Morphine there. He only took off 1 hull point with the D weapon, like he rolled a 5, which takes D3 hull points instead of 1, but then he rolled a 1 on the next die, so he only took off 1 hull point, but he did manage to immobilize it. And anybody who's ever ran a Morphine before knows that an immobilized result is essentially a destroyed result, because it's got no guns, so it's just going to sit there in the middle of the blood lake doing fuck all. So yeah, that's the end of my opponent's turn 1. So he managed to get first blood, which was the unit of bikes in the middle there, and he also scored his two of his 3 objectives. So he's on 3, and I'm on 1. So I'm going to have to play catch up now. But it could turn around any minute now, so let's get into Chaos turn 2 and see what happens. Alrighty, so that's the end of Chaos turn 2. I had to draw a 3rd objective card, so I managed to draw Hold the Line, so score 1 victory point if 3 of my units are within 12 inches of my table edge. For my reserve rolls, I got on Helldrake and 2 units of Bloodletters. So I dropped the Bloodletters in on my back field, and then moved my bikes backwards so that I had 3 units within 12 of my table edge so that I could get that objective. And I brought the Helldrake on, up this way. Fiend was immobilized, so he couldn't move. This biker moved forward, so he was within melter range of the super heavy. He's entered gliding mode now and swooped over the top and vector strike that and didn't do anything. Then what else did we have? We had the 2nd Bloodthirster. He's still in swooping mode, but he's swooped up into the center of the field there. Then we had this Fiend move up and the Hounds move up. Then we had Shooting Phase, Helldrake torched that human shield of Guardsmen that was over here. So I managed to wipe them out, which freed up a passage for my Hounds. Then obviously the only other shooting was this Melter Gun, which fired at and failed to damage the Super Heavy. Then we had the Assault Phase, so left to right we had the Hounds charge in and attack this battle tank, took it all the way down to 1 hull point remaining. Then these Hounds attacked that battle tank but didn't damage it. Fiend flipped Chimera and caused the troops to emergency disembark. Then we had these Hounds flipped this empty Chimera, so it's now gone. And then these Hounds managed to charge in and take out Pask, which is fantastic because that got me Slay the Warlord and also means that this guy's not going to get a Punisher Cannon in the arse. So that is pretty much that for that Chaos turn. So pretty eventful, pretty good. I'm very happy with the results. So back to the objectives, we managed to get Hold the Line, we managed to get Assassinate because we took out an enemy. Yeah, it's just during the turn, it doesn't have to be Assault Phase or anything, so yeah, we took that out. Murder Call, which had to summon something, so I managed to do that as well. So we got those, and then we also got Slay the Warlord. So that puts the Chaos player on 5 victory points, and the Imperial player on 3. So we'll jump into the Astra Millitarium turn 2, and maybe his Vendettas will come on and that might turn the tide for him, but we'll see how we go. Alright, that's the end of a very powerful turn for the Astra Millitarium. So objectives they drew were Ascendancy, No Prisoners, and Secure Objective 5. They managed to get both of these. No Prisoners, which is destroy an enemy unit, and Secure Objective 5. Still didn't get Ascendancy though. So what happened is he did some manoeuvring here with his tanks so that he could get better firing line on the Hounds that were here, which as you can see he killed. That one Vendetta came on from reserves. What else did we have? We had the leftovers of that line that he had set up. They ran around here, and because they have objective secured, they were able to hold that objective number 5. Demolisher backed up and fired its cannon into the Hounds, killing 2 of them. And, much to my frustration, he did a 180 with his Shadow Sword, point blank fired his D weapon at that flying Bloodthirster that had just entered gliding mode, and was lucky, and he rolled a 6 on the Destroyer chart, which meant he did D6 plus 6 wounds with no invulnerable save or armor save allowed. So that Bloodthirster was just fucking one shot wiped out by that cannon, which really frickin' sucks. He had a 1 in 6 chance of doing that. Any other result and I would have survived and been able to charge him, but he managed to get lucky and took out that Bloodthirster, so now I'm really crippled on this side of the board. Other things happened was the Vendetta fired its 3 las cannons into the Helldrake and got stunned on it, which the Helldrake ignores on a 2+, which he managed to ignore, so that's all good. And other than that, nothing really happened, so that puts us both on 5 victory points each, so it's a pretty close game. But I think it's going to come down to whoever can kill the most here, because we're starting to end up in the scraps. But let's get into Chaos turn 3 and see what happens. Alrighty, so we have the end of the Khorne turn 3. So for the objectives this turn, I had no prisoners, so I have to kill between 3 to 5 enemy, kill an enemy unit and I get 1 victory point, or kill 3 to 5 and I get D3. Behind enemy lines, which is I've got to have 3 units within 12 inches of my enemy's deployment zone. And Khorne Cares Not, which is a unique one for the Khorne Daemonkin, where basically it's similar to the no prisoners. As long as I get 1 victory point if a unit dies, or if 3 to 5 die, I get more. The cool thing about that one is that it's friend or foe, so if I charge into close combat and lose, I still get that. That still counts as one of my units dying, still counts towards whether or not I achieve that objective, which is kind of cool. And I actually managed to score all 3 of those. We also noticed that in the last turn I said that I claimed Assassinate, but I thought that it was just as long as I kill a unit. It happens to be only if I kill a character. So luckily there was a character in the unit that I killed, so it still counts, but I just wanted to clarify that in the video here. So reserves, my Helldrake came on and torched this entire unit of guardsmen. Mauler Fiend moved forward and blew up and flipped the battle tank there. What else happened? Helldrake didn't do anything. All of these hounds wrapped around this demolisher and attacked it, but only managed to take off 1 hull point. I needed 6s to glance, so I didn't really expect much. Then this Bloodthirster's entered gliding mode now, and he's going to get ready to charge this super heavy. So we'll see if he can pull off that one-hit wonder trick a second time. I don't like his chances of getting a 6 2 times in a row though. Other than that, Biker charged in, took another melt gun shot, failed to do any damage, and these 3 bikers have moved up from where they were to try and put some hurt on this super heavy as well. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of my turn. My Bloodletter's just got in better defensive positions around the objective markers, just in case I draw those cards, and that's pretty much it. So we'll jump into the Astra Millitarium turn 3, and we'll get back to you in a sec. Alrighty, that's the end of the 3rd Astra Millitarium turn. So his cards were, he still had Ascendancy from before, and this turn he drew objective number 6 twice, so which is the objective over there, which he's got no units anywhere near, so unfortunately he's not going to get that one. His reserves worked really well. He got on 2 Helldrake, what's what they call Vendettas. So his first Vendetta came on in this way, shot at the Helldrake. So now I'm got myself all confused. Fired at the Helldrake, didn't do any damage, but then these 2 managed to take out the other Helldrake. So that Helldrake's gone. His Demolisher tank chopped through the hounds and blew up the Mauler Fiend with his his Demolisher cannon. This Lehman Russ fired his battle cannon into the Bloodletters here, but because they're in that Aegis line, they didn't take any damage. And finally, the Shadow Sword fired his D-weapon strength gun at the Bloodthirster and only managed to take off 2 wounds. So, and that's in gliding mode now, so next turn he's about to cop his strength D axe to the face. And then the bikes are ready to come around, so we'll see how we go in Chaos turn 2. But yeah, pretty eventful turn 3 for... Pretty eventful turn 3 for the Astra Millitarium, because now I've got nothing really on this side of the table at all, so we'll see how we go. But yeah, let's get into Chaos turn 4 we're up to now, I believe. Alrighty, so that's the end of Chaos turn 4. The 3 objective cards I drew this turn were Altar of Gore, which is a Daemonkin exclusive, which is basically I have to kill a unit that's currently holding an objective, and if I can then subsequently hold that objective myself, I get more victory points, but none of his units were actually holding any objectives this turn, so that sort of limited my ability to gain that one. Then I got Kingslayer, which is if I kill their Warlord on this turn or any previous turn, and I killed him on turn 2, so that one I've achieved. And then I also got secure objective 4, which is over here, which I got with my Helldrake. So that puts me on a total of 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10 victory points. So Bloodletters did bugger all, they just sat there. Helldrake, he entered hover mode so that he could come down and claim that objective number 4, just so that I could get that victory point. Then we had the Hounds caught up with that Demolisher and ripped it apart. I actually managed to roll like 7 6s for my damage, so like out of 9 attacks, 7 of them were 6s, so that massively overkilled that Demolisher, but he's gone. Then we had the Bikes move in and they fired into the side of this Super Heavy and took off quite a few hull points, and then the Bloodthirster swooped in and finished him off with the axe. So that guy's down now as well. And obviously Maulerfiend's still immobilised, he's just sitting there watching, and those Bloodletters are just holding that backfield just in case I draw that card, because I figure they're so slow, they're not going to get anywhere anytime soon. Yeah, so that's the end of my turn 4. It's starting to look really, really good for me. I know at the end of every turn I always say it's looking good for whoever's turn it just was. But all he's really got left is his flyers. He's got this one battle tank down here which has only got a single hull point remaining, and flyers, that's it. So he's not going to have enough firepower to take out my units of infantry because they've all just got las cannons. And those flyers are going to struggle to claim any objectives, so it's going to be really interesting, but I don't like his chances. But we'll jump into the Astra Millitarium turn 4. Yeah, turn 4, and we'll see what he can do in response. Alrighty, so that's the end of the Astra Millitarium turn 4. He's got Ascendancy and Secure Objective 6 twice, which he's not going to achieve either of those, so I don't know what his plan is there. As for movement, he moved his Vendetta around to get the rear arm of the Helldrake, so he's now in hover mode, and these two Vendettas are still in zooming mode, but they've zoomed right up close to the Bloodthirster. Then in shooting, they all opened up on the Bloodthirster with their las cannons and managed to drop it. He fired into the rear and took 2 hull points off, so that Helldrake's only got a single hull point left. And the battle tank fired into these Hounds and only left. He took 2 out with his battle tank, with his battle cannon, and the heavy bolters did nothing. So that's the end of the Astra Millitarium turn 4. Now let's get into Chaos turn 5. Alright, that's the end of Chaos turn 5, and this was another fantastic turn. Not much really happened on the table, but when it came to drawing objectives, I got really lucky, and I still had Altar of Gore from the previous turn, but I drew Secure Objective 1 and Secure Objective 3, which happened to be the 2 objectives that my Bloodletters are holding. So that's straight away another 2 victory points for me. As for what happened on the table, the Bikes moved around this way to try and get some snapshots at those Vendettas, but unfortunately, being snapshots, you never hit. Then the Helldrake, he moved around here to try and get the rear armor of this tank, but didn't manage it. And the Flesh Hounds have moved up so that if the game goes for another turn, they're going to charge into that battle tank. So that's pretty much it, and it looks like it's pretty one-sided now because I've got a massive pile of achieved victory conditions over here, and he's got bugger all. So we'll jump into, not meaning to discourage my opponent, but fuck it. So we'll jump into Astra Millitarium turn 5, and then we'll roll to see whether the game concludes or not. Alrighty, end of turn 5, Astra Millitarium. We discarded the Ascendancy card and managed to draw Supremacy instead, which is you have to control every objective marker, so equally as useless. And then we still had Secure Objective 6 twice. But what actually happened is he flew his Vendetta over here, entered hover mode, so that he could hold objective number 6. So that means he scored those 2, which he probably should have done that previous turn. So yeah, that one hovered in and shot at the 2 Bikes. The second one just zoomed over there just to keep itself safe from the melter guns, should I get another turn. Battle Cannon fired into the Hounds and killed another Hound, and this second Vendetta moved from over here to here and took out that Helldrake. So now, literally all I have left on the table is 2 units of Bloodletters, 5 Hounds, and 2 Bikes, and all he has left
is the 3 Vendettas and 1 severely wounded battle tank. So we're going to do a roll-off now to see whether the game continues for another turn, and take it from there. Yes, it does. It continues for one more turn, so we'll see what happens at Chaos turn 6. Alrighty, so that's the end of Chaos turn 6. I still had Altar of Gore, obviously, because I can't really achieve that one. But I drew 2 new ones. I've got Big Game Hunter and Unfettered Fury. Now, Big Game Hunter is destroy a vehicle or monstrous creature, and Unfettered Butchery is one unique to Khorne Daemonkin, where you score 1 victory point at the end of your turn, as long as 1 enemy was destroyed in the assault phase. So, didn't move the Bloodletters, can't move the Morphine. The bikes just spun around and snapshotted at the Vendetta again, but didn't do any damage. And then the Hounds charged up and blew up this vehicle, the battle tank, in the assault phase. So, thanks to the cards, I get Big Game Hunter because I killed a vehicle, and I killed it in the assault phase, so I get the Unfettered Butchery as well. So that's another 2 victory points for me, giving me quite a nice little stack there. And yeah, so now all he has left on the table is 3 Vendettas. So let's get into Astra Millitarium turn 6 and see if he can somehow get 8 victory points with those 3 Vendettas. End of Astra Millitarium turn 6. So we discarded the Supremacy card that he got, drew 3 freshies. So we got Behind Enemy Lines, Domination, which is another one where he needs to control a large amount of objective markers, and Secure Objective 3, which is also going to be difficult for him to do with only flyers on the table. He did manage to get Behind Enemy Lines, however, because what he's basically done is he's flown this one over here in hover mode to where Objective 3 was, and he was hoping that he might be able to shoot down enough of those Bloodletters to get me out of the 3-inch radius I need to be in so that he could claim that. But unfortunately he only killed 1 Bloodletter, so I'm still holding that objective. And then he just hovered his other 2 over here so that they were within 12 inches of my table edge, so that gives him his 3 units, that gives him Behind Enemy Lines. And then these 2 guys fired at the remaining bikes and killed both of them. So I now officially have no more guns, so if he wants to, he could just keep hovering or flying, zooming the whole time, and there's no way I could damage him. And he could just keep cutting laps around the table. However, if he does that, he's not going to be able to claim any objectives. So we're going to do the roll-off now to see whether or not it finishes. So I believe it's on a 1, 2, or a 3. It's game over. And a 1. So that's game over. So that's what the board looks like at the end. Now let's get into victory points. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14. So I got 14 victory points because that one was Slay the Warlord. So 14 victory points for the Khorne Daemonkin. And he had 2 here because he got Warlord and First Blood. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it was a victory to the Daemonkin. But it was a very, very good game. It was very close. I was not really tooled out for fighting flyers. I didn't bring any guns whatsoever to the table, so that gave him a bit of an advantage, but at the same time he was very mech heavy and I had a lot of anti-tank, so it sort of worked both of our favours. So yeah, that's game. I hope you enjoyed it.
Follow us on YouTube. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Dakar. Thanks for watching.